My best friend mixed hair removal cream into a deep conditioner. She told me to leave on for 45 minutes, so I documented everything and stayed quiet. That was 23 days ago. She was expelled last week, and her parents tried to deliver an apology letter through my cafe tip jar. I have this friend, and we always swap hair care tips and product suggestions. So when she asked me to test out this deep conditioner she was obsessed with and tell her what I thought, she just handed me the whole jar to take home, which was perfect since I didn't feel like buying something I'd probably only use once anyway, when I already have products that work great for my hair. I went through my normal hair washing steps and decided to look up the product online first. Found some really positive reviews, but something seemed weird. Everyone kept going on and on about how amazing it smelled. Mine smelled awful, like trying to spray perfume over rotting food. I got paranoid, I guess, but I was like, no way, right? So I put a little on my arm, and at first I was like, okay, I'm being silly, but waited, and then got that familiar tingle most people know if they've ever gotten tired of the typical manual shave. I rubbed it off, and what do you know? The spot is now hairless. Now, I'm not sure if it was Nair exactly because it was mixed with the conditioner, but it definitely some hair removal cream regardless. A little something about deep conditioners hair masks. You typically leave them in for 30 plus minutes. And I'm sure I would have noticed if my scalp started tingling, but screw being bald, I could have gotten chemically burned. I almost didn't want to blame her exactly, but she literally used it before offering it to me. She texted me asking when I plan on using it since I didn't tell her I was doing my wash day, and I don't even know how to confront her. I stared at my phone screen, watching those 3 dots appear and disappear as she typed and deleted messages. My hands were shaking. The jar sat on my bathroom counter like evidence at a crime scene, and I couldn't stop looking at the small hairless patch on my arm where I'd tested it. Maya knocked on the bathroom door. Everything okay in there? You've been in there forever. I grabbed a towel and wrapped it around my head, opening the door just a crack. Yeah, just trying this new conditioner Jessica gave me. Maya's eyes narrowed. She was my roommate and a chemistry major, always noticing things others missed. The one that smells like death? I thought you were going to throw it out. I was going to test it first. I showed her my arm, and her expression shifted from curious to alarmed. Let me see that jar. She pushed past me into the bathroom, picking it up and sniffing carefully. Her nose wrinkled. This isn't just conditioner. Give me a second. She disappeared into her room and came back with what looked like pH strips and a small chemistry kit she kept for tutoring. I watched as she scooped out a small amount and started testing it. See this? She held up a strip that had turned bright orange. This pH is way too high for hair products. And that smell underneath the perfume? That's thioglycolic acid. It's the active ingredient in hair removal creams. My stomach dropped. But Jessica used this. She posted pictures just 3 days ago with her hair looking perfect. Maya looked at me with that expression she got when solving a particularly difficult problem. Did she use it in front of you? No, but she said she loved it. She was so excited for me to try it. My voice cracked on the last word. Another text came through from Jessica. Make sure you leave it in for at least 45 minutes. That's the secret to getting super soft hair. 45 minutes, with hair removal cream mixed in. I felt sick. Maya read the text over my shoulder. She's trying to make sure you leave it on long enough to do serious damage. This isn't an accident. I sank down onto the closed toilet seat, my mind racing. Jessica and I had been friends since freshman year. We studied together, went to parties together, shared clothes and secrets. Last week, she'd helped me pick out an outfit for my date with Carlos. Carlos, her ex-boyfriend who'd asked me out 2 weeks ago. I hadn't even told her yet because I wanted to see if it was going anywhere first, but maybe she already knew. I need to check something. I grabbed my phone and opened Instagram. There it was, a photo Carlos had posted from our coffee date, tagged at the campus cafe where I worked. Jessica had liked it. Of course she'd seen it. Maya sat down next to me on the edge of the tub. What are you thinking? Carlos is Jessica's ex. They broke up last semester and she said she was totally over him, but he asked me out recently and I think she found out. So she tried to chemically burn your scalp? Maya's voice rose. That's not just petty revenge, that's assault. The word hit me like cold water. Assault. This wasn't just mean girl drama or friendship jealousy. This was calculated, planned, deliberate harm. My phone buzzed again. Jessica. Hello? Don't leave me hanging. I'm dying to know if you love it as much as I do. The fake enthusiasm in her messages made me feel even sicker. How long had she been planning this? When she'd handed me the jar yesterday, she'd been so normal, chatting about our upcoming midterms and complaining about her statistics professor. I should call campus security, I said, but my hands weren't moving. Maya shook her head. First, we need to document everything. Take pictures of the jar, your arm, save all her texts. I'll write up my analysis of the chemical composition. I did as she said, photographing everything from multiple angles. The hairless patch on my arm had turned slightly red now, a reminder of what could have happened to my entire scalp. She told me to massage it in really well, I remembered suddenly. Said to make sure I got it all the way to the roots and covered every strand. God, she really thought this through. Maya was examining the jar more closely. There's something else. See how the conditioner and the hair removal cream aren't fully mixed? Like she stirred them together but not thoroughly? She probably did this recently, maybe even right before giving it to you. Another memory surfaced. When she handed it to me, she said she'd just gotten a new jar for herself so I could keep this one. But if she loved it so much, why would she give away a half-full jar? Because she never used it herself, Maya said grimly. This was made specifically for you. I thought about all our conversations over the past few weeks. Had there been signs? Jessica had made a few comments about my hair lately, how much time I spent on it, how I was obsessed with keeping it healthy. I'd thought she was just teasing. Remember last month when you got that internship at the medical center? Maya asked suddenly. She seemed weird about it. She was right. Jessica had congratulated me, but there'd been something off about her reaction. She'd made a joke about how I always got everything that had felt a little too sharp to be funny. My phone rang. Jessica's name flashed on the screen. Don't answer, Maya warned, but I was already picking up. Hey, Jessica's voice was bright and eager. I've been texting you. Did you try the conditioner yet? Yeah, I'm actually putting it in now, I lied, watching Maya's eyes widen. Oh, perfect. Remember, leave it in for at least 45 minutes. I know it seems long, but trust me, your hair will be so silky. Like, commercial-worthy silky. It smells kind of weird though, I said carefully. There was a pause. Oh, that's just because it's super concentrated. The smell goes away after you rinse. Did you put it all through your hair? I'm working on it. Hey Jess, where did you even find this stuff? I looked online but couldn't find this exact brand. Another pause, longer this time. Oh, my cousin makes it. She's really into natural hair care. It's like a small batch thing. Your cousin? I knew all of Jessica's family. She didn't have any cousins who made hair products. Yeah, on my mom's side. You haven't met her. Her voice had changed, becoming slightly defensive. Why are you asking so many questions? Just use it and thank me later when your hair looks amazing. I caught Maya's eye. She was recording the conversation on her phone. I'm just curious because the reviews online mentioned how good it smells, but mine smells pretty chemically. Reviews? I told you it's small batch. There wouldn't be reviews online. Now she sounded nervous. Oh, I must have been looking at the wrong thing then. Hey, you used this recently, right? Your hair looked great in those photos from Tuesday. Right, yeah. I use it all the time. The lie came so easily. Cool. I'll let you know how it goes. Although 45 minutes seems like a really long time. No, the word came out sharp before she caught herself. I mean, no, that's the minimum. You could even do an hour if you want really dramatic results. Dramatic results, like being completely bald, or having chemical burns on my scalp that would require medical attention. Okay, I'll do the full 45 then. Thanks again for sharing. Of course, what are friends for? The fake sweetness in her voice made me want to throw my phone. I hung up and looked at Maya, who had stopped recording. She's lying about everything. We need to report this now, Maya said firmly. This is evidence of intent to harm. She knows exactly what's in that jar. But I wasn't ready. Not yet. I needed to understand why. Why would someone I trusted, someone I considered one of my closest friends, try to hurt me like this? I scrolled through our text messages from the past few months, looking for clues I'd missed. There were subtle things. Comments about how I didn't deserve my grades because I didn't study as hard as everyone else. Jokes about how guys only liked me for my looks. Little digs disguised as friendly banter. Then I found it. A message from 3 weeks ago where she'd asked if I was interested in anyone. I'd said no, not wanting to mention Carlos until I knew if he was interested. She'd responded with, good, because dating is so overrated anyway. But she'd already known. She must have seen us together or heard from someone else. And instead of confronting me, she'd planned this. Maya was pacing now, angry on my behalf. We should go to the RA right now, or campus security, or both. I know, but I was still sitting there, staring at the jar that could have ruined my life. Not just my hair. The chemical burns could have been severe enough to cause permanent scarring, infections, who knows what else. My work phone buzzed with a shift reminder. I was supposed to work at the campus cafe tomorrow morning, the same cafe where Carlos and I had our first date, where Jessica had probably seen the photo that set this whole thing in motion. You know what's really messed up? I said to Maya. She could have just talked to me. If she was upset about Carlos or jealous or whatever, we could have worked through it. Maya sat back down beside me. Some people don't want to work through things. They just want to hurt others. I thought about all the times Jessica had complimented my hair, asked about my routine, seemed genuinely interested in helping me maintain it. Had it all been fake? Or had the jealousy slowly poisoned a real friendship? Another text from Jessica. BTW, make sure you use a lot. Like really saturate your hair. The more product, the better the results. The eagerness to cause maximum damage was chilling. This wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment or a prank gone too far. This was malicious. I'm documenting everything, Maya said, taking more photos. The timestamps on these texts are important too. She's actively encouraging you to use more product and leave it on longer, even after you've supposedly already applied it. I stood up, suddenly feeling exhausted. I need to figure out what to do. What do you mean? We report her. I know, but I trailed off, not sure how to explain the grief I was feeling. This wasn't just about the attempted attack. It was about losing someone I'd thought was a friend, someone I'd shared late-night study sessions with, who'd held my hair back when I was sick after my first college party, who I'd trusted with my insecurities and fears. Maya seemed to understand. I get it, but she made her choice when she mixed hair removal cream into that conditioner. This isn't about friendship anymore. It's about your safety. She was right. I knew she was right. But knowing something and feeling ready to act on it were two different things. Can we wait until morning? I need to process this. Maya looked like she wanted to argue but nodded. Fine, but we're locking that jar in my room as evidence. And if she shows up here tonight, I'm calling security immediately. I agreed, watching as she carefully placed the contaminated jar in a plastic bag, labeling it with the date and time. My phone kept buzzing with texts from Jessica, each one more insistent than the last. Did you fall asleep with it in? LOL, that would be even better. Your hair will be so soft. The casual cruelty of it made me turn my phone off entirely. Tomorrow, I would have to deal with this properly. Report it to the right people, have difficult conversations, maybe even involve the police. But tonight, I just needed to sit with the reality that someone I'd trusted had tried to hurt me in such a calculated way. Maya made us both tea, and we sat in our tiny shared kitchen, not talking much. The hairless patch on my arm had faded from red to pink, a small reminder of the catastrophe I'd narrowly avoided. Your instincts saved you, Maya said quietly. That paranoia you mentioned? That was your subconscious picking up on something being wrong. I thought about that awful smell, how it had immediately made me suspicious despite Jessica's enthusiasm. Some part of me had known something was off, even if I couldn't articulate it. I almost ignored it, I admitted. I almost just put it in my hair because I trusted her. But you didn't. That's what matters. The next morning arrived too quickly. I'd barely slept, replaying every interaction with Jessica over the past few weeks. Maya had already left for her early lab when my phone started buzzing with notifications I'd missed from having it off overnight. 12 texts from Jessica, each one more frantic than the last. The final one, sent at 3:47 a.m., simply read, "Why aren't you answering? Did something happen?" I stared at the messages, my stomach churning. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately, but Maya's words echoed in my head. Document everything first. I got dressed mechanically, avoiding looking at my reflection. The small patch on my arm had faded to barely noticeable, but I knew it was there, a reminder of what almost happened. My shift at the campus cafe started in an hour. I grabbed my work bag and headed out, the plastic bag with the contaminated jar hidden in my backpack. Maya had insisted I take it with me, worried about leaving evidence in our dorm room. The morning air was crisp, and campus was just starting to wake up. I took the long route to work, needing time to think. My phone buzzed again. Jessica, I'm really worried about you. Can we meet for breakfast? I almost laughed at the audacity. She was worried about me after trying to chemically burn my scalp? The cafe was already busy when I arrived. My manager, Nathaniel, looked relieved to see me. Thank God you're here. Gabrielle called in sick and we're swamped. I tied my apron and dove into work, grateful for the distraction. Making lattes and serving pastries was mindless enough that I could function on autopilot while my brain processed everything. Around 10 a.m., during a brief lull, I saw Carlos walk in. My heart sank. I wasn't ready for this conversation. He smiled when he saw me, that easy grin that had caught my attention in the first place. Hey, I was hoping you'd be working today. I forced a smile back. The usual? Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. He glanced around the nearly empty cafe. Do you have a minute? Nathaniel nodded at me to take a break. I led Carlos to a corner table, my hands shaking slightly as I sat down. So, this is kind of awkward, he started, running a hand through his hair. But Jessica texted me last night. A lot. Like 30 messages a lot. My blood ran cold. What did she say? She was going on about how you stole me from her, how you've been plotting against her, all this crazy stuff. He pulled out his phone, showing me screenshots. I blocked her after she started threatening to expose you for being fake or whatever, but I wanted to make sure you were okay. I stared at the messages. Jessica's words were increasingly unhinged, accusing me of seducing Carlos, of pretending to be her friend just to get close to him, of being jealous of her. She's projecting, I said quietly. Carlos leaned forward. What do you mean? I made a decision. Pulling out my phone, I showed him the texts from last night, then told him about the conditioner. His expression shifted from confusion to horror as I explained about the hair removal cream, Maya's analysis, and Jessica's insistence that I leave it on for 45 minutes. She could have seriously hurt you, he said, his voice tight with anger. This is insane. I think she saw your Instagram post from our coffee date, I said. The timing lines up. Carlos shook his head. We broke up 6 months ago. She dumped me, said she needed to focus on herself. I thought we ended things okay. When did you start noticing she was different? I asked. He thought for a moment. Honestly, when she found out I got into the engineering program, she made all these comments about how some people get everything handed to them. I thought she was just stressed about her own applications. The pattern was becoming clearer. Jessica's jealousy wasn't just about Carlos. It was about anyone she perceived as having something she didn't. I need to get back to work, I said, standing up. But thank you for showing me those messages. Wait. Carlos caught my arm gently. Are you going to report this? Because you should. This isn't just drama. This is dangerous. I nodded. I'm working on it. He squeezed my arm supportively before leaving. I watched him go, then returned to the counter where Nathaniel was giving me a concerned look. Everything okay? He asked. Not really, I admitted, but I'll deal with it after my shift. The rest of the morning passed in a blur. I served customers, cleaned tables, and tried not to think about the jar in my backpack or Jessica's increasingly frantic texts. Around noon, I was wiping down the espresso machine when I heard a familiar voice. There you are. I turned to see Jessica standing at the counter, her usually perfect appearance slightly disheveled. Her eyes were red-rimmed and her smile was too bright, too forced. I've been so worried, she continued loud enough that other customers turned to look. You didn't answer any of my texts. I'm working, I said carefully, very aware of the security camera above the register. I know, but this is important. She leaned across the counter. Did you use the conditioner? How did it go? I studied her face. There was something desperate in her eyes, a manic energy that made me step back slightly. I haven't had a chance to wash my hair yet, I lied smoothly. I worked late last night. Her face fell slightly before she caught herself. Oh, well, you should really try it today. I mean, I gave it to you 2 days ago. Why does it matter so much when I use it? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. It doesn't. I'm excited to hear what you think. She was fidgeting with her phone, typing something without looking at the screen. We always share product reviews, right? That's our thing. Our thing. Like we were still friends. Like she hadn't tried to chemically burn my scalp. Jessica, I really need to work. I'll wait. She moved to a table near the counter. I'll just sit here until your break. Nathaniel appeared beside me. Is everything all right? He asked quietly. I'm not sure, I admitted. He glanced at Jessica, who was staring at us intently. If you need to leave early, just say the word. I shook my head. I wasn't going to let her chase me away from my job. I'm okay. But Jessica didn't just wait quietly. Every few minutes, she'd call out comments or questions. Remember when we tried that coconut oil treatment? Your hair looked so good at the Delta party last month. I bet Carlos loves your hair. That last comment made me freeze. She said it with a smile, but her eyes were cold. Other customers were starting to notice the tension. Gabrielle, who apparently wasn't as sick as she'd claimed, came in for her usual afternoon coffee and immediately picked up on the weird energy. What's with the stalker vibe? She whispered when Jessica was temporarily distracted by her phone. Long story, I muttered, handing her the latte. Gabrielle glanced between us. Need backup? Before I could answer, Jessica was at the counter again. I just remembered. I have that hair mask you wanted to borrow. It's in my car. Come get it on your break? I don't remember asking to borrow anything, I said carefully. Her smile flickered. Yes, you did. Last week. The protein treatment? I knew for certain I'd never asked for any protein treatment. My hair routine was specific, and I didn't deviate from it often. She knew that. I think you're confused. I'm not confused. Her voice rose sharply, causing several customers to look over. Why are you being like this? I'm trying to help you. Nathaniel stepped forward. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to lower your voice or leave. Jessica's face flushed. I'm just trying to talk to my friend. Your friend is working, he said firmly, and you're disrupting our business. She looked between us, her expression shifting from anger to something almost hurt. Fine, but we need to talk. She pointed at me. Tonight. Our room. We don't share a room, I said, confused. Maya's room then. Whatever. She grabbed her bag and stormed out, nearly knocking over a display of coffee beans. The cafe was silent for a moment after she left. Then Gabrielle let out a low whistle. Girl, what did you do to pass her off? Existed, apparently, I said, trying to keep my voice light despite the shaking in my hands. Nathaniel pulled me aside. Do you need to file a report? That seemed intense. I nodded. I think I do, but I need to finish my shift first. He shook his head. Go. Now Gabrielle can cover. I wanted to protest, but the look on his face stopped me. He was right. This was escalating beyond normal friendship drama. I grabbed my things and headed for the door, pulling out my phone to text Maya. But before I could send anything, I noticed something that made my blood run cold. Jessica had posted on her Instagram story a photo of the campus cafe taken from outside. The caption read, "When your best friend thinks she's too good for you now." I quickened my pace, heading for the student affairs office. But halfway there, my phone rang. Maya, where are you? Her voice was tense. Walking to student affairs. Why? Jessica's here, at our dorm. She's pounding on the door, demanding to know where you are. My stomach dropped. Don't let her in, obviously, but she's making a scene. The RA is on her way up. I changed direction, heading for campus security instead. I'm going to security first. Can you record her if she says anything? Already on it. She keeps yelling about how you betrayed her, how she knows what you did. Maya paused. What did you do? Existed while having hair she wanted to destroy, apparently. I heard muffled shouting in the background. Maya cursed. She's trying to pick the lock. I'm calling security. I'm almost there, I said, breaking into a run. The security office was mercifully close. I burst in, probably looking wild-eyed and panicked. The officer at the desk, a middle-aged woman named Officer Brown, immediately stood up. What's wrong? The words tumbled out in a rush. The conditioner, the hair removal cream, Maya's analysis, Jessica's texts, the confrontation at the cafe, and now her trying to break into our room. Officer Brown's expression grew more serious with each detail. She picked up her radio. We need a unit at Morrison Hall, 3rd floor. Possible attempted break-in in progress. I have evidence, I said, pulling out the jar. My roommate tested it. She's a chemistry major. Officer Brown carefully took the jar, placing it in an evidence bag. We'll need a full statement, but first, let's make sure your roommate is safe. We headed to my dorm in her patrol car. I texted Maya that we were coming, and she responded that Jessica had left when she heard the RA calling security. She ran toward the parking lot, Maya texted, but not before screaming that you'd regret this. When we arrived, the RA, a senior named Nathaniel, was waiting in the hallway looking frazzled. I've never seen anything like that, he said. She was completely unhinged. Maya emerged from our room holding her phone. I got most of it on video. She kept saying she knew you used the conditioner and that you were faking being fine to make her look crazy. Officer Brown took notes while I gave my full statement. Maya provided her chemical analysis, which she'd written up in detail. The RA confirmed Jessica's aggressive behavior. Has she exhibited any other concerning behavior? Officer Brown asked. I thought about it, really thought about it. And suddenly, memories started clicking into place. Last month, my favorite sweater went missing. The one Carlos complimented me on. Jessica helped me look for it. I paused. She was the one who suggested I'd probably left it at the gym. Maya's eyes widened. Remember when your bio notes disappeared right before the midterm? Jessica was the one who found them in the library, but you swore you'd never taken them there. More pieces fell into place. The time my work schedule got mysteriously changed, and I almost missed an important study group. The rumor that spread about me cheating on a test. A rumor I'd traced back to Jessica's friend group, but never directly to her. She's been sabotaging me for months, I said quietly. Little things. Things that seemed like bad luck or my own carelessness. Officer Brown's expression was grim. This appears to be a pattern of escalating behavior. The hair removal cream could have caused serious injury. We need to find her before this escalates further. As if on cue, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think you're so smart, but I know things about you. Things that would ruin you. Officer Brown immediately took my phone. We'll trace this. Another text came through. Carlos doesn't really like you. He's using you to make me jealous. He told me everything. Then another. Your perfect grades? I have proof you cheated. Ready to lose your scholarship? She's spiraling, Maya said, reading over Officer Brown's shoulder. Don't respond, Officer Brown instructed. We're going to coordinate with campus police to locate her. The next hour was a blur of procedures and protocols. I gave a formal statement. Maya provided her chemical analysis. The RA filed his report. Officer Brown coordinated with other security personnel to locate Jessica. They found her car in the parking lot, but she wasn't in it. Her roommate hadn't seen her since that morning. Her phone was going straight to voicemail. We've put out an alert, Officer Brown told me. In the meantime, I recommend you stay with someone tonight, not in your dorm room. Maya immediately offered her parents' house off campus. They're out of town. We can stay there until this is sorted out. As we packed overnight bags, I couldn't stop thinking about how quickly everything had unraveled. 2 days ago, Jessica had been my friend. Now she was someone security was actively searching for. My phone, which Officer Brown had returned after documenting the threatening texts, buzzed with a call from an unknown number. I showed it to Maya, who shook her head. Don't answer. But something made me pick up. Maybe I needed to hear her voice, to understand how we'd gotten here. I know you're there. Jessica's voice was strangely calm. I'm not crazy, you know. Jessica, where are you? You really thought you could just take everything from me? My boyfriend? My friends? Everyone's attention? I didn't take anything from you, I said, putting her on speaker so Maya could hear. Carlos asked me out. That's it. That's it? She laughed, but it sounded hollow. You have no idea what it's like. Being friends with someone who gets everything so easily. Perfect grades without studying. Guys falling all over themselves. That hair. So you tried to destroy it? I just wanted to level the playing field. Just once I wanted to see you struggle with something. Maya was recording again, giving me a thumbs up to keep her talking. Jessica, you could have seriously hurt me. Chemical burns, permanent scarring. You weren't supposed to get hurt. She sounded frustrated now. You were just supposed to lose your hair. Be less perfect for once. That's still assault. I said quietly. There was a long pause. I know, she finally said, her voice small. I know I messed up, but you don't understand what it's like, watching you get everything I want. Where are you, Jessica? Let's talk about this in person. So you can have me arrested? I'm not stupid. You need help, I said. This isn't normal. The jealousy, the planning, trying to hurt me. You need to talk to someone. Don't psychoanalyze me. Her calm facade cracked. You think you're so much better than everyone with your pre-med major and your perfect life. My life isn't perfect. Shut up. Just shut up. She was crying now. I hate you. I hate that I spent so much time pretending to be your friend when all I wanted was to see you fail at something. The line went dead. Maya immediately called Officer Brown to report the conversation. Within minutes, they'd traced the call to somewhere on campus. Stay where you are, Officer Brown instructed. We're increasing patrols, but staying still felt impossible. Maya and I paced her parents' living room, checking our phones constantly for updates. An hour passed, then 2. Finally, Officer Brown called. We found her. She was in the chemistry building trying to access the lab. She's in custody now. Relief flooded through me, followed immediately by a strange sadness. Despite everything, part of me mourned the friendship I'd thought we had. What happens now? I asked. She'll undergo a psychological evaluation. The university will determine disciplinary action. You'll need to decide if you want to press criminal charges. Criminal charges against someone I'd once considered a close friend. After ending the call, Maya and I sat in silence for a while. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving exhaustion in its wake. You know this isn't your fault, right? Maya said eventually. Her jealousy, her actions, none of that is on you. I know, I said, though part of me wondered if I could have seen the signs earlier. I trusted her. That's not a character flaw. That's being human. My phone buzzed with texts from other friends. Word was spreading across campus. Some offered support, others wanted gossip. I turned my phone off, not ready to deal with any of it. What are you going to do about pressing charges? Maya asked gently. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me just wants this to be over. But what if she does this to someone else? That's not a decision you have to make tonight. We ordered takeout and tried to watch a movie, but I couldn't focus. My mind kept replaying every interaction with Jessica, looking for signs I'd missed. The backhanded compliments I'd dismissed as jokes. The way she'd always needed to know my schedule. How she'd subtly discouraged me from joining study groups or making new friends. She was isolating me, I realized out loud, making me dependent on her while secretly resenting me. Maya nodded. Classic toxic friendship behavior. I'm glad your instincts kicked in when they did. That night, I barely slept. Every noise made me jump, even though I knew Jessica was in custody. The what-ifs plagued me. What if I'd used the conditioner without testing it? What if I'd left it on for 45 minutes like she'd insisted? The next morning, Officer Brown called with an update. Jessica had been placed on emergency suspension pending a full investigation. She'd been released to her parents, who were driving up from their home 3 hours away. She admitted to mixing the hair removal cream with conditioner, Officer Brown said. She claimed it was just a prank that went too far, but given the evidence and her behavior, the university is taking this very seriously. What about criminal charges? That's up to you. You have strong grounds for assault charges. The chemical analysis shows the concentration was high enough to cause significant burns with prolonged exposure. I told her I needed time to think. After hanging up, I found Maya making coffee in the kitchen. I don't know if I can go back to normal after this, I admitted. You don't have to, she said. Normal is overrated anyway, but you will move forward, one day at a time. My phone buzzed with an email from the Dean of Students, requesting a meeting to discuss support services and safety measures. The reality of how serious this had become was setting in. As we prepared to return to campus, I thought about the jar still in evidence with security. Such a simple thing, a beauty product shared between friends, but it had revealed something much darker lurking beneath the surface of what I'd thought was a genuine friendship. Ready? Maya asked, grabbing her keys. I nodded, though I wasn't sure I'd ever be ready to face the aftermath of Jessica's betrayal, but I had to try. I couldn't let her actions define my college experience or my ability to trust others. The drive back to campus was quiet. Maya had offered to stay with me in our dorm, and I was grateful for her steady presence. As we pulled into the parking lot, I saw clusters of students talking, some glancing at me with recognition. The rumor mill is in full swing, Maya observed. Let them talk, I said, surprising myself with my own resolve. I know the truth. The walk to the dean's office felt surreal. Students I'd never spoken to before were whispering and pointing. Maya stayed close, her presence a shield against the stares. The dean of students, Dr. McSebastian, was a tall woman with kind eyes who'd been at the university for decades. She gestured for us to sit, her expression serious but compassionate. I've reviewed the incident report from Officer Brown, she began, folding her hands on her desk. This is one of the most concerning cases of student misconduct I've encountered. How are you holding up? I shifted in my seat, unsure how to answer. I'm processing, I said finally. She nodded. The university is prepared to offer you counseling services, academic accommodations if needed, and we're implementing a no-contact order between you and Ms. Jessica immediately. What about her suspension? Maya asked. That's being reviewed by the disciplinary board. Given the severity and premeditation involved, expulsion is likely. Dr. McSebastian turned back to me. I understand Officer Brown mentioned the possibility of criminal charges. The university will support whatever decision you make. The meeting continued with discussions of safety protocols and support resources. As we left, Dr. McSebastian handed me her direct number. Call anytime, day or night. Outside her office, I checked my phone. 17 missed calls from numbers I didn't recognize. Word had definitely spread. Let's get lunch off campus, Maya suggested, steering me away from the main quad where more students were gathering. We drove to a small diner on the edge of town, somewhere we wouldn't run into anyone from school. I ordered mechanically, not really tasting the food when it arrived. Carlos texted me, Maya said carefully. He wants to make sure you're okay but doesn't want to pressure you to respond. I appreciated his restraint. The last thing I needed was another complicated dynamic to navigate. My phone buzzed with an email from my statistics professor. Jessica and I were supposed to present our group project next week. The professor was offering to let me present alone or delay until I found a new partner. Everything's connected to her, I said, staring at the email. Every class, every routine, every memory from the past year and a half. Maya reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You'll make new memories, better ones. After lunch, we stopped by the campus bookstore where I worked part-time. My manager, Nathaniel, pulled me aside immediately. Heard what happened. Take as much time as you need. Your job will be here when you're ready. His kindness almost broke me. I managed to thank you before Maya guided me back outside. The next few days blurred together. I attended classes but couldn't focus. Professors who'd heard about the incident offered extensions on assignments. Friends I hadn't spoken to in months reached out with support. Jessica's parents had taken her home immediately after her release. I heard through the grapevine that they'd hired a lawyer and were trying to negotiate with the university to avoid expulsion. Officer Brown called with updates. The chemical analysis had been sent to an external lab for verification. The concentration of hair removal chemicals was even higher than initially thought. If you'd left it on for the recommended time, you would have suffered second-degree chemical burns at minimum, she told me. The hospital confirmed it would have required emergency treatment. The weight of what almost happened hit me again. I'd been one decision away from serious injury. A week after the incident, I was in the library trying to study when someone approached my table. I looked up to see a girl I vaguely recognized from Jessica's friend group. I'm Gabrielle, she said nervously. I know we've never really talked, but I wanted to tell you something about Jessica. I tensed, but Maya, who was studying beside me, nodded encouragingly. Gabrielle sat down, wringing her hands. Last year, Jessica did something similar to another girl. Not as extreme, but she put bleach in her shampoo. The girl's hair turned orange and broke off. Jessica convinced everyone it was because the girl had been using bad box dye. My stomach turned. Why didn't anyone say anything? Jessica made it seem like an accident, said she'd mixed up the bottles while cleaning. The girl transferred schools. Gabrielle looked miserable. I should have spoken up then. I'm sorry. After she left, Maya and I sat in stunned silence. This wasn't Jessica's first attempt at hurting someone. The pattern was escalating. That evening, I made my decision. I called Officer Brown and told her I wanted to press charges. I'll file the paperwork immediately, she said. You're doing the right thing. The next morning, I had to give a formal statement at the police station. The detective assigned to the case was thorough, asking detailed questions about our friendship, the timeline of events, and Jessica's behavior. We'll be requesting a restraining order as part of the charges, he explained. She won't be allowed within 500 feet of you. As I signed the papers, I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. This was really happening. My friend had tried to hurt me, and now she'd face legal consequences. Back on campus, the atmosphere had shifted. People who'd been whispering now approached with stories of their own experiences with Jessica. Small cruelties, manipulations, lies that had seemed insignificant at the time. She told me you said my presentation was stupid, one classmate revealed. I avoided you all semester because of it. She borrowed my calculator before a test and forgot to return it until after, another added. I almost failed because I couldn't finish the problems in time. The picture that emerged was of someone who'd been systematically undermining others for years, with me as her ultimate target. Carlos finally texted, asking if we could talk. I agreed to meet him at a neutral location, a park near campus where we could have privacy. He looked tired, stressed in a way I'd never seen before. I keep thinking about all the things she said when we were dating, comments about other girls that seemed like jealousy, but were actually darker. I let him talk, sensing he needed to process this too. She used to joke about wanting to cut off her roommate's hair while she slept because it was too perfect. I thought it was just venting. He shook his head. I should have seen the signs. We all should have, I said. But people like Jessica are good at hiding their true intentions. We talked for an hour, not about us or any potential relationship, but about the strange grief of realizing someone you cared about was capable of such cruelty. The legal process moved faster than expected. Jessica's lawyer contacted mine, trying to negotiate a plea deal. She was willing to plead guilty to assault in exchange for probation and mandatory counseling. It's your choice, my lawyer explained. A trial could drag on for months, but you might get a harsher sentence for her. I thought about it for days. Part of me wanted her to face the maximum consequences, but another part just wanted it to be over. Maya helped me weigh the options. What outcome would help you move forward? In the end, I agreed to the plea deal with conditions. Jessica would have to complete 200 hours of community service, attend anger management counseling, and pay for any therapy I needed. The university moved forward with expulsion proceedings regardless. Jessica wouldn't be returning to campus. 3 weeks after the incident, I was back at work at the cafe. Nathaniel had put me on morning shifts, knowing they were less busy and would ease me back in. I was making a latte when I saw a familiar figure through the window. Jessica's mother stood outside, looking uncertain. My hands started shaking. Nathaniel noticed immediately. You okay? You can take a break if you need. But Jessica's mother was already walking away, apparently having changed her mind about coming in. I watched her go, wondering what she would have said. That night, I found a letter slipped under my dorm room door. No return address, but I recognized Jessica's handwriting. Maya saw me holding it. You don't have to read that. But I did. I needed to. The letter was long, rambling, full of justifications and accusations mixed with what might have been genuine remorse. She wrote about feeling invisible next to me, about years of built-up resentment, about how seeing Carlos choose me had broken something inside her. I never meant for it to go so far, she wrote. I just wanted you to know what it felt like to lose something you loved. I threw the letter away. Her pain didn't excuse her actions. Her jealousy didn't justify assault. The semester was ending soon. I'd managed to keep my grades up despite everything, throwing myself into studying as a distraction. My professors had been understanding, offering support without prying. Carlos and I had developed a tentative friendship. We studied together sometimes, both of us needing to process what had happened. Neither of us was ready for anything more, and that was okay. One afternoon, while walking across campus, I passed the chemistry building where Jessica had been arrested. The memory felt distant now, like something that had happened to someone else. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. My heart rate spiked until I read it. "Hi, this is Gabrielle's friend. She told me what happened. I just wanted to say Jessica tried something similar with me freshman year. Thank you for standing up to her." I saved the message. There were a dozen others like it in my phone now. Girls who'd been targeted in smaller ways, who'd stayed silent out of fear or confusion. The plea hearing was set for the week after finals. I'd have to face Jessica one more time, give a victim impact statement if I chose. I spent hours writing and rewriting what I wanted to say. How do you summarize the betrayal of someone you trusted? The fear of what could have happened? The strength it took to rebuild your sense of safety? Maya helped me practice, sitting patiently as I started and stopped dozens of times. "You don't have to be perfect," she reminded me. "Just be honest." The day of the hearing arrived gray and drizzly. I dressed carefully, choosing clothes that made me feel confident. Maya came with me, along with Officer Brown and the victim advocate the court had assigned. The courthouse was smaller than I'd expected. We waited in a side room until it was time. Through the door, I could hear voices, footsteps, the business of justice moving forward. "You ready?" the advocate asked. I nodded, though my palms were sweating. The courtroom was nearly empty. Jessica sat at a table with her lawyer, her parents behind her. She looked smaller than I remembered, her usually perfect appearance disheveled. Our eyes met for a moment before she looked away. The judge reviewed the charges and the plea agreement. Jessica stood when asked, her voice barely audible as she pleaded guilty to assault. Then it was my turn. I walked to the podium on shaky legs, my statement clutched in my hands. "Your Honor," I began, my voice stronger than expected. 23 days ago, someone I trusted tried to cause me serious physical harm out of jealousy and spite. I talked about the friendship I thought we had, the trust she'd violated, the fear that still woke me up at night, the other victims who'd stayed silent. Jessica had choices, I continued. She could have talked to me. She could have ended our friendship. She could have sought help for her feelings. Instead, she chose to plan and execute an attack that could have left me permanently scarred. I looked at Jessica then. She was crying, but I couldn't tell if it was from remorse or self-pity. "I'm asking the court to enforce the plea agreement fully, not out of vengeance but because Jessica needs help, and other potential victims need protection." I sat down, my part done. The judge asked Jessica if she wanted to speak. She stood, reading from a prepared statement about being sorry, about not understanding why she'd done it, about hoping I could forgive her someday. The judge's decision was swift. She accepted the plea agreement, adding that any violation of the restraining order or failure to complete the required counseling would result in immediate jail time. "Ms. Jessica," the judge said sternly, "you're fortunate your victim's quick thinking prevented serious injury. This court hopes you'll use this opportunity to address whatever led you to such a cruel and calculated act." It was over in less than an hour. Jessica was led out a different door, her parents following. I'd likely never see her again. Outside the courthouse, the rain had stopped. Sun broke through the clouds, warming my face. "How do you feel?" Maya asked. "Free," I said, and meant it. The next few weeks passed quietly. I finished my finals, packed up my dorm room, prepared for summer break. The whispers on campus had died down, replaced by new dramas and concerns. I decided to stay on campus for the summer, taking classes and working extra shifts at the cafe. Maya was staying too, and we'd found a small apartment to share off campus. My last therapy session of the semester was on a Thursday afternoon. Dr. McNathaniel had helped me process not just the attack, but the complex grief of losing a friend to their own darkness. "You've shown remarkable resilience," she told me. "But remember, healing isn't linear. There will be hard days." I knew she was right. I still flinched when strangers approached me unexpectedly. I'd changed my hair routine completely, unable to look at deep conditioners without feeling sick. Trust would take time to rebuild, but I was rebuilding. Slowly, carefully, one day at a time. The summer stretched ahead, full of possibility. I'd signed up for a research position at the medical center. Carlos and I had plans to study together for the MCAT. Maya was teaching me to cook in our new kitchen. Life was moving forward, different than I'd planned, but still mine to shape. On my last day of work before summer hours started, a regular customer handed me an envelope with my tip. "Heard about what happened," she said quietly. "You're brave." Inside was a note. "Thank you for speaking up. Your courage helped me leave a toxic friendship too." I kept that note, adding it to my collection of unexpected support, evidence that something good had come from something terrible. As I walked home that evening, I passed the hair salon where Jessica and I used to go together. The memory stung, but it didn't consume me. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya. "Dinner's ready when you are. Made your favorite." I smiled, picking up my pace. I had a new life to build, new memories to make, new friendships to cherish. The girl who'd almost lost everything to someone else's jealousy was still here, still standing, still moving forward, and that was enough.